Good morning, everyone. The year is 2025, which means we are a quarter of a way through the 21st century. A lot has happened in these last 25 years, but most importantly, superhero movies dominated the United States box office. If you look at each year's highest grossing film since 2000, 7 of the last 25 were superhero movies, which is by far the most of any genre. Can you guess what the second most frequently recurring genre is on this list?
The Rock movies?
Star Wars. I've assembled this panel of autistic Zoomers today to discuss the current state of superhero movies, as the genre has been undergoing some dramatic changes over the last 5 years.
I have a rad score of 152.
A-list talent is leaving the Marvel Cinematic Universe in droves, creating much uncertainty for the future of a franchise that was once too big to fail. DC executives are firing personnel, canceling tentpole projects, and greenlighting auxiliary projects in a series of moves that indicates they've got nothing left to lose. Some say the genre is on its last legs, referring to the nosedive that Marvel films in particular have taken in both critical and commercial success. Others say it's gearing up for a renaissance, citing the influx of DC's auteur-driven films. In order to make sense of these things, I've asked each of you to watch and then rate every single film based on a Marvel or DC Comics character that has been released since 2020. My analysis of your ratings illustrates some very interesting trends that I would like to discuss with you today. What are the big players doing? How have their moves played out thus far? What will be the future of box office cinema? In the year 2025, the following Marvel movies came out. Captain America: Brave New World, which across the board, all of us but Joseph have called shit. Then comes Thunderbolts, which all of us across the board called shit, except for Arthur, who called it funny. And then came Fantastic Four, which Dawson and I both called shit, and Arthur called good. Just quite the diversity of quality, but mostly shit in the year 2025. Arthur, what were you going to say?
I will say, I actually don't think Thunderbolts was that funny. I just think it was better than inoffensive.
Meanwhile, 2025's Superman. Greats all across the board. Something has happened. Something drastic. Where when Marvel releases movies, it's almost an automatic shit pile. And all of a sudden, DC is turning around, and I give a shit about a DC character, and I'm calling the DC movie good. This felt like a lot of cognitive dissonance.
I'll just say that Superman made me feel, and I think that's important in a movie. You know, it makes you feel something. I know some people felt things at Thunderbolt. For me, I didn't feel anything. The climax of the movie, it felt like nothing. Like, it didn't feel earned. I couldn't take it seriously. I don't know. I just wasn't invested.
So honestly, I don't even know if calling it a cognitive dissonance is even worth it, because it's very simple. DC has released one movie in 2025, and it was produced and directed by James Gunn. And in the last decade and a half, James Gunn has only really released bangers.
And I guess my take is, there's a saying in Tennessee, or it could be Texas, but the one who stands in front of the gun lives forever. Has he missed in the past 5 years? I don't think so.
I would go even further than that, in the last 10 years. When did Guardians come out?
I think
The
2014.
first one?
The James Gunn argument is an interesting one. So let's, for some context, right? James Gunn is the director of the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, which was very notably the most sort of whimsical, inventive, strange Marvel series within the MCU. It featured this sort of ragtag group of characters that no one had really heard of, and propelled them into A-listers, the most exciting piece of the later Avengers ensemble movies. James Gunn leaves Marvel in a really sort of dramatic turn of events to start directing movies for DC. His first movie is the remake of Suicide Squad. Closer to my mouth? Okay.
Basically, he was able to make a sequel to a completely dogshit movie and make me care about the characters from the first one.
And I think because of his one-off success in this DC franchise, they handed him creative license over the entire DC franchise.
Suicide Squad came out at a weird time because it was still kind of COVID-y stuff. Right. So
No, it was smack dab in the middle.
Yeah, so technically it wasn't really financially a huge success, I think, but in terms of critical reception it was very good. But also of note is that they offered him Superman actually. But he turned it down to make the Suicide Squad instead. So they were already ready to just hey man, we know you're really good. Like we see an opening because Disney dropped him, briefly. So like we're going for it, and they offered him Superman, which is like besides Batman, their franchise character. So I think that just goes to show that like his value was already shown, and yeah,
Therein lies the parallel phenomenon, right? DC, they have their Zack Snyder universe where they first handed the all control of the DC franchise to Zack Snyder, who decides to make these high fantasy, really epic, really dreary superhero movies that don't really, I mean, they're directly opposed to the vibe that Marvel was giving out, but they don't really make sense as movies. They're really hard to watch. And yeah, they're sort of scrambling. They're handing their vision to sort of random people. They give it to
Rock.
Zack Snyder, and then in the middle of the Zack Snyder shit, they pull in the offshoot Joker movie, they pull in the offshoot Batman movie, and then they just completely jump ship and start to back James Gunn. Meanwhile, over at Marvel, right, the Marvel business model, right, is you have Kevin Feige and the other executives who have a very coherent plan for what's going to happen. And in that, they include all sorts of very talented directors. The Russo brothers, Jon Favreau, Shane Black, Sam Raimi at one fucking point, Edgar Wright at one point that he ends up getting kicked out, but okay, Ryan fucking Coogler. They have this insane lineup, and what do? They say conform to our formula. Make the movie a certain way. But other than that, you're making a fun summer blockbuster, so just kind of, we'll let you do your thing. But in the midst of that, right, 2019 hits, Endgame comes out, and Marvel is seemingly continuing to do the same thing. Post-Endgame, even though they lose all their A-list talent, right? They lose Robert Downey, which we'll get back to later. They lose Scarlett Johansson. They lose Chris Evans, right? Despite that, they're still churning out movies. They're recruiting new A-listers. They got Tom Holland, who is, gonna have a fine career. They have they have Deadpool now. They have a new Captain America. They got Florence Pugh, who's like a huge actress. And on top of that, these are still movies being made by directors. They absorb good directors. Chloe Zhao, Oscar winner, directs Eternals with Kumail Nanjiani. So Marvel has the personnel. But they're making weird decisions with this personnel. Meanwhile, DC, you look like it's all shit till Superman. Right?
Whoa! I wouldn't say it's all shit. There's
It's not
a few.
all shit.
It's all shit till James Gunn.
It's a kind of all shit till James Gunn. Really bizarre decisions like Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam or The Flash and Shazam 2, which both come out after their A-list stars have been canceled. But they're putting the fate of their franchise behind one guy, whereas Marvel still has their very cohesive studio corporate plan going. And somehow DC's sort of turbulence looks a little bit more promising.
You could argue that Marvel puts all of their weight behind Kevin Feige. It's very clear that like Marvel, I think aside from Ryan Coogler, basically every movie in the Marvel like ecosystem is chopped up to a degree where they are barely fucking coherent anymore. Like,
I mean, the movie's made before shooting's even done.
yeah.
Or even the script is done.
Yeah, they start shooting before the script is done. Like, it's a movie made by committee. And, like, at the beginning, when Marvel was first starting out, that was not how movies were made. But it's just, I would say it's part of like being a victim of your own success. Like you've made this gigantic pot of money and you are so afraid of losing that you aren't willing to take risks anymore. So they take the new Captain America movie, Brave New World, which could have been good, and they just chop it into pieces until it barely has a narrative.
Dawson, and then you guys can chime in on this question. Dawson, I want to ask you a specific question, which is pre-James Gunn DC universe. How was the 2020s, the remnants of the Zack Snyder movies, which I think they had already decided that Zack Snyder is done, with this last string, these last farts of the Zack Snyder universe? How were those comparing to the 2020s of Marvel, in your opinion?
Well, the first thing is that there's obviously just a lot less of them, right? And so while I think a lot of the movies were pretty mediocre, because they weren't in the Marvel machine, there's like some bright spots. Bright spots. For example, Blue Beetle. It's like not an amazing movie, but when you watch it, you're like, oh, this is like kind of funny. Some of its action is like kind of good. This actor like is like pretty charismatic. I could see like if this movie was better, I could really love it. But like it's not that good. But it's not like awful. Like Black Widow, like Shang-Chi, like some of these movies, I'm like, these are like pretty bad. Like Shang-Chi is like okay until the third act and it's just completely bad. And like Doctor Strange 2 like doesn't make any sense to me. Like it's awesome. I love it because Sam Raimi is just so good. But then other part like it just doesn't make any sense. Like but at least some of the DC stuff, I felt there was some level of vision for some of these. And at the end of the day, you still had some really good movies. Like you had The Batman, you had The Suicide Squad, you had Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is heavily flawed, but I still think is like a really great movie overall. And okay, mate, some of these other ones are pretty fucking bad.
Batgirl.
But even in
Batgirl was amazing.
yeah, Batgirl's great. But even in some of these movies that are really awful, I think there's bright spots. Like I think Wonder Woman 2, 1984. I think Pedro Pascal is just fucking amazing. Like he's the best part of that movie. And like sure, it has some issues, but I think that's really good. And I think for example, in Shazam 2? Like actually wait. No, that movie kind of fucking sucks. Yeah. If it had less Zachary Levi, it'd be really good.
Wait, isn't Zachary Levi the main character of that movie?
I'll just one last thing about the Flash is I hate the Flashpoint storyline. I was really upset they were making it into a movie, and I think the Flash is heavily flawed. But like, man, those scenes where with the Flash and his mom and stuff, like those are really emotional, really well acted. I'm like, wow, these scenes are fucking amazing. If only they were in a good movie.
Yeah. I want to go back and I want to push back on you saying that Shang-Chi wasn't very good. Because, I mean, I am literally the target audience for Shang-Chi, but I think it was a really good movie.
I didn't say that.
Up until, well, it's because I'm Chinese. It's less Asian.
Look, I don't care what
anyway, it was specifically the, like, fight choreography and, like, the idea of him running away from his family that I really loved the first 2 acts of Shang-Chi.
I don't think Marvel can resist the temptation to chop their little movies into bits. And as long as they have a Doctor Strange 2, a Guardians 3, even a Deadpool 3, I'll give that some credit, where it's at least it's like its own little movie. As long as Marvel does that, they might be able to stay afloat, but their big swings have all been shit, right? Brave New World. This is the new Captain America. Fucking Harrison Ford, and it's got all this like political future of Marvel storyline going on, and it's just complete dog shit. I'm trying to find other example, but like you mean the only way they could make Spider-Man
other
good.
Big swings are Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, Juwan. You could have.
No, Fantastic Four is not a big Marvel swing, and I'll tell you why. Because Fantastic Four
literally is, but continue.
It doesn't reference any other Marvel characters. It takes place in a completely different universe.
Guys, I think we need a new host.
It's kind of what do you mean? It doesn't reference any characters. It takes place in a different universe. It's detached from the Marvel Cinematic
matter
Universe.
because in Superman they have Peacemaker, which is from the old DCEU, but Superman is still a success. The connections don't matter. It's just good movie.
Exactly.
Matters.
The connections don't matter. Specifically, the reason why Fantastic Four is a big swing is literally Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four were an effort to right the ship and to show the general audience that Marvel is still good. You should still come see our movies.
They cast a Pedro Pascal in that shit.
Okay.
That's how you know they're serious.
They spent so much money. This was clearly their flagship movie, and they put so much money into marketing, and they purposely set it in a different universe to set it apart from all of their other movies. You mentioned where the universe is heading. The new Avengers movie is Doomsday.
Yes.
And Doom is not showing up, my guess. The Doom that they casted Robert Downey Jr. for is not showing up in 616. He's coming from the Fantastic Four universe.
You are correct. I'm not going to discount this, and that's actually a very compelling point. The point being that Marvel is attempting to reinvent themselves, right? And now but I'm going to hit you with a why, right? And what is this leading toward? Because the 3 big swings I can point to, apart from these movies, which are admirable swings, is Spider-Man 3, which is characteristically, by far, no matter what, a buckling, right? Spider-Man 3 is, we need to make this movie splash because we are running out of shit post-Endgame. We don't really have anything else to bring to the table. No one's going to show up to Thor 4. No one's going to show up to fucking Ant-Man Quantumania. We're kind of fucked. So let's just make the biggest swing we can with Spider-Man 3 and make it this cameo nostalgia fest.
They finally did the origin too. They killed someone, and he said
Right.
the line. That's how you know they're desperate.
Yeah. Okay, and then what's the next move? Spider-Man 4 followed by Avengers Doomsday.
5 years later, by the way.
So, which means that we are putting all of our
Oh
faith.
my God, it's been 5 years.
We're putting all of our faith into Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr., which we revived Robert Downey Jr. from the dead for Avengers Doomsday, which is going to be the tentpole movie. It's the only other movie they're releasing next year, other than Spider-Man 4. Guys, this sounds like desperation heaves to me.
I'm gonna say this. So we're talking about an earlier difference, and I was like, well, DC make good movie, Marvel make bad movie. Let me tell you another thing. Marvel make a bad TV show. I watched Ironheart, a bad TV show. I watched Peacemaker, good TV show. Okay. And obviously it's still a gun difference.
Expect
But
you to do the homework too.
Yeah.
Like you can't avoid doing the homework. You're not gonna fucking get brand new. What is it?
Well, I think you will get
Brave New World. Like okay, yeah, but like, there's so much homework because you have to watch Hulk 1.
Oh, right. You have to watch The Incredible Hulk.
Oh,
They showed a shot from The Incredible Hulk in
right.
this fucking
Yeah.
No,
movie.
that's a good point. You
So
need
you
to
have,
watch
you
Hulk
have
1
to do
to
the
watch
homework.
Brave New World.
Otherwise, like half of it doesn't make sense.
Oh,
Like, who
shit.
the fuck is Ross? Why is he recasted after 20 years?
I want to add one more point because I've been watching a lot of like the behind the scenes and podcasts and shit with James Gunn just because it's entertaining. And one thing about his philosophy is like the philosophy behind the DC universe is that these different movies and shows, they can have their own tone, they can tell their own story, and you can watch it without having to watch the other stuff. Like Swamp Thing, like when they release Swamp Thing, like you're not gonna need to watch fucking Superman or Supergirl or watch the Peacemaker TV show to watch Swamp Thing. Like, nah, dude, you can just watch Swamp Thing or Clayface or whatever. I don't know if they're still doing Swamp Thing, but they're definitely doing Clayface. But like that's like a different philosophy. It's like Marvel's like we have to interconnect everything and we have to tease things even if they don't get paid off. Like
Yeah,
they-
and you mentioned tone too.
yeah.
There's different tones in these DC movies.
I will say there's like Werewolf by Night is like the biggest example of like a slightly different tone and stuff. Like no one. Well, it's a special. It's a special. Same thing with the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. But also like, it's just.
But it wasn't theatrical.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. It wasn't theatrical. I do think another part of Thunderbolts being a big swing is and this goes for Fantastic Four too. Like they were attempting to have vastly different tones than typical Marvel movies. I don't think they succeeded with Thunderbolts. I think they did a decent job with Fantastic Four, but that's a part of them trying to right the ship.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what I'll point out. My new point that I've just come up with, right, is that we're talking about the interconnectedness of Marvel, the need to be locked into it, right, in order for the story to progress. Whereas DC has just straight up decided we're just reinventing the whole thing. New movie, Superman. You all know who Superman is, and we're just going in this direction now. You don't need to watch any of the other shitty movies. Now, with Marvel, we have Black Widow, Eternals, fucking Thor 4, Quantumania, The Marvels, and then I'll throw Thunderbolts in here just because I don't think. I mean, okay, no, okay, Brave New World. These are all dense pieces of the MCU, right? That nobody liked, right? That people were all really upset about when they came out, and that the public consciousness has forgotten. The next movies are Spider-Man 4 and Avengers Doomsday. Yeah. Spider-Man 4, everyone knows what Spider-Man is. It's also a clean slate. It's a reinvention, new characters. And then Avengers Doomsday, prediction right now, the big thing, Dr. Doom's whole thing is that he wears a mask, right? Prediction for Avengers Doomsday is that a huge picture of Robert Downey Jr.'s face will be the poster for this movie. Right? So they are saying, oh, scrap it all. You don't have to pay attention to any of this. We're just reinventing. We're starting a new thing. I think the marketing for Avengers Doomsday does not hinge on anything. The recognizable faces of Tom Holland, Florence Pugh, Robert Downey, and then what's another, like, just a big name actor that everyone's...
Doomsday has every single actor.
It has every.
Okay.
So I think
Well,
they did.
actually,
Well, who are the
yeah,
big
yeah.
faces on the
Yeah,
poster?
you want to talk about the stream?
They did how long was it? 2 hours?
I have no idea.
It was 2 hours of them just panning across the actor chairs.
Wait, it was that slow?
Yeah, and it took
That's
2
fucked
hours
up.
for them, and then they would just put in the chairs, and then they would have the actors' names, and it took 2 hours of just scrolling.
Oh.
And the final one was Robert Downey Jr. I think.
Shit.
Oh, I see.
Jawan, you don't know this.
What is this? Please explain what's going on.
All of the Fox X-Men are coming back. Michael Fassbender's
Nice.
coming back.
Okay.
Fuck. Both versions of Charles Xavier coming back.
Stewart?
Patrick Stewart's coming back.
No way.
Ryan Reynolds, unfortunately.
Ryan Reynolds is going to be in the movie.
Apparently, they were Robert Downey Jr. and Ryan Reynolds were fighting on set. So
That being the case, then, so we're looking forward now. We have this arguably extremely star-studded Doomsday movie coming out, right? Which, again, the main pull of which is going to be Spider-Man and Iron Man, but everyone else is nothing to scoff at. You're telling me that there's all these recognizable heroes, all these recognizable stars. So Avengers Doomsday could be a pretty interesting revival for the franchise. And then the next DC movie is Supergirl. So we're kind of now familiar with the directions they're going to take. What do we think these will amount to? What do we think the next phase of Marvel will be, knowing that it's been this sort of buckling reinvention, just throw it all out now, versus DC's comparably calculated procedure? What do we think the future of superhero movies is going to look like?
Well, Marvel is doing a big crossover event that you need at least somewhat context of all these previous movies, where DC is, again, it's new slate. The philosophy is different. It's, hey, you can watch each of these movies separately, versus Marvel, where it's like, it's the culmination of all these things. And like, sure, you technically don't need to watch it, but like, you're not going to get the same experience. I watched Deadpool and Wolverine and I had a great time because I knew all those characters. I knew the references. I know who Gambit is. If you didn't know who Gambit is, you probably didn't enjoy Gambit as much as I did.
You can tell the people who enjoyed Deadpool 3 on this panel are me and Dawson, because we knew who everyone was.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew everyone was in the Deadpool 3 movie.
You knew who Elektra was?
Yeah.
You knew X-23 and shit?
Yeah. That's
Wow,
from Logan.
okay.
I feel like the Marvel movies, you have to find your own justification to watch the movies. For the DC movies, they're like, oh, we're justifying you watching this on it just being good. You know
What do you mean movies? You mean the two?
Yeah, I mean, just like it's like
two James Gunn movies?
Yeah, pretty much.
We're talking about the. You also have the Batman. You also have the Batman.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Which James Gunn was like, "Yo, take your time finishing
The Batman
the script, bro, 'cause I want it to be good."
The Batman is really good. We are leaving it out of the conversation
broad.
simply because like it doesn't really fit in with.
Yeah.
Well, I would argue that while it's not part of the interconnected universe, at least maybe, who knows? I don't hope it's not, but it still is under the philosophy of, you can just watch this movie. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you don't need to watch anything else to watch this movie.
Yeah, it
You
doesn't.
don't
It
need to watch
doesn't
the
feel
Penguin.
the need to justify itself.
Yeah.
I will say that like part of the reason why all the Marvel movies are getting more and more difficult to watch is because it went from, Avengers 1, these movies being interconnected is fun. You get to see all these different characters interact with each other. To Avengers 2 and then Civil War, it's no longer fun. It's, you have to watch these movies to understand what's going on. If you haven't dropped at this fucking point 40 hours of your life, maybe even more, into watching these movies, you're not going to understand or enjoy it as much.
Yeah, and it's just a hard sell with that kind of stuff. Like, I love, my favorite X-Men movie is probably Days of Future Past. And I think there's an argument that you might be able to go into that without having watched other ones, because I think it is pretty good. But it's still you're not gonna have the same experience unless you've at least somewhat know some of the other history of those movies, because it's kind of the culmination. It's kind of the end game or the Infinity War of the X-Men stuff up to that point.
I'm moving into this alternative feeling about this where I think Marvel knows that we called all these movies shit. And I'm just exaggerating, but Marvel knows we called all these movies shit. So I think Marvel, in order to succeed, this is my advice to Marvel. In order to succeed, I think Marvel needs to throw out all of this shit and then have Doomsday focus on the characters that we recognize, and then just sort of low key play out the rest of it. And because, especially because you also made another interesting point. You said that it was fun when these movies were connected, but now it's homework, and you need to. The sentence you said is you need to invest 40 hours of your time. Those 40 hours were very easy to give back then because everyone wanted to see each one of those movies. Now, with the list this long, no one wants to see all these movies. So I think Marvel must necessarily pivot toward one, maybe two a year. They fumbled by throwing Captain America into this year, but I'll give them Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. People showed up to them and people enjoyed them, and they will retain. I will at least retain that Florence Pugh was in Thunderbolts, and I will retain that there is a new Fantastic Four, right?
I will say, to
Yeah.
your point, it seems like that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because they had, for 2024, they had like 5 movies planned that were going to drop in 2024. And they knew that everything, like all of their other movies, were not making the money back. They weren't being financial successes. So they literally axed all of their projects and they only left Deadpool 3.
But Marvel, even in that haste, is going to demolish DC next year. Because next year they have Spider-Man 4 and Doomsday. DC has a Supergirl, right? So as far as the box office is concerned, they're making the right decisions and they will revive themselves.
At this point, DC and Marvel are playing completely different games. Marvel is playing like, please come watch it. Please come watch our movies.
I mean,
And-
they're spamming nostalgia bait and Spider-Man.
Yeah. And DC kind of knows that because of James Gunn, they kind of know that if they take their time and make good movies, they're gonna make their money back, if not more. Yeah, I think it's a completely different ballgame that they're playing at this point.
I also think they have different philosophies when it comes to taking their time.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think, what was it, 2018 or something? There was, like, 6 or 7 Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And they're reducing it down to 4 or 5 now. But they're taking their time as, oh, we'll only make 4 movies this year. But DC's taking their time as, like, oh, we can make, like, 4 movies if we want, but we'll start 3 years, like, before, or at least 2 years before, and give time for the movie to be made. But it's like they're both taking their time, but it's just Marvel's not actually taking their time.
Because DC's most populated year is 2023 with Shazam 2, Flash, Blue Beetle, and Aquaman 2. Which to me, I don't know what the actual decisions
That
were.
was just them shitting out the rest
But
of the
it
movies.
seems like they were just like, oh, let's just dump these all
Yeah,
out because
they're
we're
just
done.
dumping them.
So that's the only time they have a populated year, really. Otherwise, it's one movie a year.
But also, to be fair with DC, we're starting with the year 2020. We should be starting with, if we really want to get the whole picture, we should be starting with Man of Steel. And the reason why there are so few movies coming out in DC, it's because they kept failing.
Well, also the studio kept getting like sold, like the heads changed, like this person's in charge, now this person's in charge. Like Zack Snyder's the visionary, now he's not the visionary, and it's just a whole mess. Like
I want to do a quick anecdote, which is that in these last 5 years of seemingly endless superhero movies, which, you know, if you include 2023's DC run, it's endless shit, endless trash being dropped.
hey,
over
I
and
like
over again.
Venom. Venom is funny.
Venom is fun.
Venom is fun.
Tom
and
Hardy is
funny.
like so good.
2024 gets to be a year of just reprieve for everybody because 2024 DC has one movie, which is Joker 2, which means you don't need to watch any DC movies in 2024. You can just forego it because that movie had some of the worst fucking marketing and like internet hype I've ever seen for a movie ever. No one wanted to watch this movie.
Oh, I wanted to watch it. I thought the trailer was really good, even though I didn't like the first one. I just didn't watch it though because the reviews were really bad.
Yeah, no, the press around it was
Yeah.
just devastating. And then Marvel Cinematic Universe only has one movie, which is Deadpool 3, which is just kind of like a nice little safe bet, whatever. You can watch it or not. If you think Deadpool is funny, go ahead and watch it.
Yeah,
right?
I watched it.
It was kind of a low risk. I called it shit, but I remember being a little delighted at the whole Backstreet Boys thing at the beginning.
I called
and,
it
like-
funny. I thought it was very entertaining.
But that being said, 2024 then allows for Sony to thrive with their movies.
Thrive is not what I would say.
2024 was a great year for superhero movies where we got Madam Web, Venom 3, and Craven, which I didn't even know Craven came out.
I watched Craven, and I was low-key like, yo, this is like a movie. Like, this is a movie with a script. I'm like, whoa, this is more than Marvel has. They don't have a script. They're just making it up as they go. I'm like, this is at least somewhat cohesive. Like, I was able to follow along with the plot, and it made sense. I was like,
I guess these Sony movies, they're bad, but they're bad regular movies.
Yeah.
Like the scripts are doo-doo dog shit, right? But they're like movies.
like Morbius, Madam Web, and Craven, they like all look fine. Like compared to Marvel movies, they look kind of ugly.
I kind of
But
thought
they,
Madam
like,
Web looked decent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it looked good.
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
the movie always sucked.
Right.
When people talk about superhero fatigue, they're not even really talking about I feel like Superman proves that superhero fatigue isn't real. We're just tired of bad.
Though,
movies.
okay, I do think it's real because if you look at the box office numbers, none of these movies hit $1 billion.
The bubble has burst. Like this is like the speculation, like original, like of comics. Like that bubble, like the bubbles are bursting. But the thing is, you can still make good superhero movies that make money.
Spider-Man 3, almost $2 billion.
Right.
Eternals, 400.
Wait, what do you mean by Spider-Man 3? Far From Home?
No Way Home.
No Way Home.
Oh, No Way
Way
Home. Yeah.
This piece of
Far From Home, $1 billion.
Is this
Endgame,
double- oh,
$2.7 billion. Captain Marvel made $1 billion.
Captain Marvel made $1 billion.
1.1.
But not the
Worldwide.
Marvels. Not the Marvels.
Not the Marvels.
Yeah, that dog shit movie made $1 billion. That's how you know the bubble fucking was crazy.
Okay, well, also, the stats, because I said 7 for 25. Also, I wanted to point out real quick, in the last 5 years of the superhero genre being on its last legs, only one superhero movie made the top of any highest grossing movie of the year, and that was Spider-Man. No other superhero movie has reached the top of the list.
Back when Captain Marvel came out, it was backed by all of these really good movies. It was backed by the first Avenger. It was
In America, or in the United States, domestic, all the box office numbers are pretty consistent. Like, it's still, like, making more than its production. But worldwide, no one cares anymore. Like,
Yeah,
even
no skulls.
the Marvels had a K-pop scene for the Korean crowd. That made $84 million.
Oh, man.
Really? Only 80? Wait.
Or
domestic.
domestic,
Domestic.
200 million worldwide.
Is what do you guys think the next, like, DC moves, like, should be? As this is like a hypothetical question of, like, so you have Superman, you have Supergirl. Do you build toward a new Justice League? Or do you try to incorporate the Robert Pattinson and even the Joaquin Phoenix Joker type shit into this, like, darker atmosphere? What are you doing with your characters? Especially because all your characters, Aquaman, fucking Wonder Woman, Shazam, The Flash, Blue Beetle, all these guys are very recent in my memory. So what do you do to distance yourself from all this shit and still make a coherent franchise that goes up against Marvel's huge players that are coming out next year?
I do kind of like the possibility of Pattinson playing alongside Corn Sweat.
I love it.
They are both hot as shit. Batman is just fucking such an emo guy.
Yeah.
And then Superman is such a jolly old, like, goofy old man. It's just a crazy contrast. I think it could work.
Yeah.
I would love to see it.
I really hope they don't merge because I just think Matt Reeves has a great vision, a great world, and I don't think it works that well in the comic booky world that is established of Superman, where it's like, this is the comic book world, we're gonna do comic book characters. In Peacemaker season 2, they use a Batman villain named White Rabbit, and she's like a bunny lady in like a bunny suit, and it's like that doesn't really work well with Matt Reeves' Batman stuff.
I do think it could go both ways. I think Pattinson could start seeing the goofy stuff. But, like, if it doesn't, I'm completely fine with it. I just don't know how they're going to do Batman in the new universe.
I've seen that James Gunn's vision is that, like, you don't need to, like what Dawson was saying, you don't need to do homework to watch this movie. You can just jump into it. And I don't think he is aiming to build, like, a concrete narrative like Marvel will. I'm excited to see how he's going to, like, grab different times and make different movies in, like, different parts of the timeline.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think, and also to, like, avoid people being too familiar with the characters when he, like, re-releases or, like, recasts them, I think it's simply just gonna be time. Like, if he only drops one, all right, if DC, not just James Gunn, if DC only drops one movie per year, eventually, when you recast Blue Beetle, when you recast The Flash, when you recast Wonder Woman and Shazam and Aquaman and all of that, there will be enough time that has passed and enough, like, good art that, like, retakes people's ideas of what this world is to the point where it won't be a problem anymore.
I will say he's actually not recasting Blue Beetle. I think he's using the same actor, which is kind of funny. But yeah, the big thing is just that he's telling individualized story. You know, Clayface is going to be a horror movie. So, like, maybe he's not going to make $1 bajillion, but he's not going to spend $1 bajillion making it because he knows what he's doing, right? And he's gonna wait for a script from director and such that he likes, and I just think it's the difference in philosophy, and the reality is that like technically he's already building towards a Justice League movie because he has the Justice Gang, which is kind of this incomplete prototype version of the Justice League that is being funded by Maxwell Lord and all this stuff. And so it's like eventually he'll probably do something, but he's not like making it this big thing. It's just this passive thing that will at one point, culminate in something probably. And so when that time comes, I'll be happy, but I'm not eagerly awaiting it because the important thing isn't the Justice League. The important thing is the story, what's being said, and those kind of things. Which is like the difference with like Marvel. It's like Spider-Man. Oh my God, the Bat-Chest. I love Spider. Oh my God, Tony Stark. I love Tony Stark. He's so cool. Oh my God.
I am excited for Batman to take over the Justice League and be like, no, I'm paying for this now.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, I honestly I kind of like when Batman is kind of like he's in the Justice League, but he like kind of doesn't fuck with them at first. Like
He'll be
like
like,
that
I'll
too.
fund you guys. Like, he'll be the billionaire that's funding them, and then be like, yeah, I'll help you sometimes or whatever.
Yeah.
But once that scene plays out, that's gonna be great.
What we have ahead of us is a decade, the second half of a decade, the first half of which has been marred by shitty business decisions, dumping out shitty movies, and buckling and making last-second Hail Mary decisions to get your franchise in order. What we now have is a pretty good footing for Marvel. It's one I don't like. I'm not excited about the movies, but it's a pretty good footing. And the next movies are Spider-Man and Avengers, so we are in for a box office treat. And we have a huge DC reinvention, the next steps of which are kind of undetermined, but we sort of have a guarantee that they're going to be pretty decent. It is up to the rest of the decade now in these movie releases to see who wins at the box office, whose strategy is better. And my money, I guess stupid, dumb way to end this video, is my money. Before going into this, my money was on DC because of just how fucking good Superman was. But because of how sporadic they're being and how kind of nerdy they're going to play it, there's a chance that they don't do the big Justice League thing. There's a chance that there's no executive pressure that tells them to make the moneymaker. So they might peter out by the end of the decade. They might have momentum now.
the next, like the sequel to Superman, and maybe not necessarily Superman 2, but whatever is coming after it, James Gunn has already started working on his treatment for it. I think he said it might even already be done. He still needs to write the script, but like he's already moving. Like he has the pace.
I think Avengers Doomsday and then the subsequent like
What is
Dr.
that? What is
Doom-
after Avengers? Like what is?
Doctor Doom versus Fantastic Four movie, new
But, like,
Wolverine movie.
Who cares? Who cares?
I think Marvel has this $1 billion load, and then before the end of the decade, I think they have another $1 billion that they will figure out how to make. My money is on Marvel. They're going to figure this shit out by the end of the decade.
Honestly, my money will still be on Gunn because there's still a very realistic possibility that Doomsday is going to be a pile of dog shit. And if Doomsday is a pile of dog shit, they're never recovering.
All right, this is why DC is better than Marvel, because DC has absolute Martian Manhunter, Get Ratioed. It's the best comic book out there right now. It's fucking better than everything. Ultimate Spider-Man, it's actually kind of shit. I don't like it. It's bad.
I think it's gonna be DC. I think Marvel is just gonna fail. Because they're making these two next Avengers movies to reboot the universe. I think they want to reboot the universe because they don't know where they're exactly going.
Yeah.
But DC has already started the reboot, and they're jumping the gun first. They're the gun. James Gunn is just they're like spearheading. He's spearheading whatever's coming up next, and they already started. While Marvel's still trying to end like commit suicide right now. So they're too late.
Yeah, I'll say I think DC is going to win because I think their philosophy is much stronger, is much better. They're going to make actually good movies. And the reality is that like I don't even think the reboot is necessarily why they're going to win. The only reason I think they really rebooted is because James Gunn wanted to tell his Superman story and it didn't fit with the previous stuff, because he's carrying over his Suicide Squad stuff and Peacemaker, and some of that has attachments to like other stuff. So it's like the reality is that like he didn't necessarily have to reboot. He just probably did because of baggage plus wanting to make his own story. But yeah, I just think at the end of the day, it's the difference in philosophy and the quality of the movie that will make the difference, because, you know, they can keep making Spider-Man movies. They can make Avengers slot movies that are like probably written by AI or something. Like they can do that and make some money for a while, but eventually like it'll give out, right? But if DC invests in quality storytelling in movies, then like that's what'll win out in the end of the day.
It didn't give out yet. I went into this wanting DC to win, wanting to put my money on DC, but literally after having
Bro,
this conversation,
okay.
and also after wanting to
Captain
go Dark Horse.
Marvel won $1 billion. The Marvels 200, and they had a TV show
Well,
too.
that was the Marvels. That got canceled by the right-wing fascists. They said, "Don't watch this movie. It has brown women in it," and they won. Right? I just look. I think they're done. I think they're done
Okay.
with their diarrhea.
I feel
And
like
their
you're
next
saying
moves are
it
very
because they
certain.
have Spider-Man and they're making tons of movies, so eventually they'll like get it right or something. But,
Yeah.
like,
No, I think the next 2 movies are Spider-Man and Avengers. I think they're done with diarrhea and they're starting to just they're going to make very calculated, only box office smashes from here on to the end of the decade. I don't think they're going to fuck
I
around
will
anymore
say
here.
I have faith in DC in large part because when we watched Superman and I watched it 2 times in 24 hours, people cheered with the Peacemaker cameo. I'm like, wait, people actually give a shit about Peacemaker? I'm not the only one. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy that like if you make something good, people will watch it. Maybe not everyone will know it, but it'll be enough that it'll like garner that fan interest.
This is this might be spoilers, and Dawson, you might know more about this because I didn't actually read like Secret Wars, but I'm almost positive that Doomsday, because of what happens in Secret Wars, Doomsday is going to end with Doom winning, and then Secret Wars is gonna be Endgame again. And honestly, if I'm right about that and they do that shit again, they're dead. Like there's no way you come back from that.
Dude, they made such a fucking great investment in Spider-Man because he's the only guy they have.
Bro, it's Spider-Man.
The whole future of their fucking friend. Like, imagine if Sony still had Spider-Man right now, dude. Imagine if that deal didn't go through.
The 3
Like,
MCU Spider-Man movies aren't even like
They're
like,
not good, but they each made a $2 billion. Tom Holland, he's not even like a A-list actor, but he certainly has that status.
I don't know.
feel
I
like-
liked Homecoming.
Brand New Day looks pretty good.
Brand New
It
Day.
Yeah,
looks
Day
really
looks
good.
pretty good.
You're gonna feel they're gonna fuck you in the ass. You're gonna feel that way about every single Spider-Man movie here on out.
Spider-Man the only superhero allowed to wear spandex-like material. He's him. That's why.
Yeah.
He's Spider-Man. That's what I was saying before. I'm not sure if it was during recording. But I said Spider-Man is the only Marvel character people give a shit
Yeah, no,
about.
you said that before we started rolling, and I think it's such an intelligent acquisition, and it will spell such prosperity for this franchise. Because if you're saying Doom is going to wipe everyone out or all these shitty Marvel heroes, I was just trying to think about, well, who were the recognizable guys and what was going into the first Avengers movie? We had a Thor movie, an Iron Man movie, and a Captain America movie, right?
In the first Avengers movie, basically every character going into it was recognizable.
Yeah.
Except for Hawkeye.
Right. Hawkeye
They
and
never
Black
gave
Widow.
Hawkeye's costume this fucking frost
Even
costume
the-
is so
even-
good.
And we had Iron Man and Captain America. Going into this, we have Spider-Man, MF Doom, and who is there any other recognizable hero? I guess Wolverine and Deadpool, right? So we have a slate of heroes, all of which are reliable, spearheaded by Spider-Man, aka Iron Man from before. We have stability and success in our future because Spider-Man will bring it all home, and he'll ride out the decade.
Why
Is
is
Spider-Man coming first or Doomsday coming first?
Spider-Man, I think.
Okay.
Why is Jimmy Olsen and Eve a better love story than Michelle Jones and Peter Parker?
It's because they don't show the love story.
They dedicated like 2 movies to it though.
Are
It's
we-
Far From Home and No Way
Are
Home.
we good on cutting? Are we
I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah.
good?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Because she needs to go use the bathroom.
Oh, sweet. So do I. I'll join her.
So do I.